Hey guys, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. I promised you a reading about Saturn in Aries transit, and I did it yesterday, but I did it on the fly. When I watched it again this morning before I wanted to post it, I had like all this weird backlighting and I looked like Satan. So I decided not to post it, which is perfect for kind of the thing that we're talking about. I'm doing it here in my office, which is very Saturn. So let's get into it. Now, the last time this happened was in 1996 to about 1999. So you can get some clues as to what happened to you back then. Not necessarily like an echo, but did you level up a lot in what area? What were the challenges that happened? What were the decisions that you make as a result of the things that were coming towards you? That you'll tend to have an echo of those, maybe not the specific events. Now, some of you I've spoken to, and you mentioned that you were young and that things, you got pushed out of the house, or there were some challenges when you were in early childhood. And those tend to be harder because there are foundational wounds and we have no control over them. So those echoes will be different, but it may have been about you. So if that happened to you when you were 7 or whatever, and we come 28 years later, it'll be about you finding your path or you becoming more yourself or moving away from people that are harmful to you. So look for those kind of echoes. Now, Saturn is not a bad thing. He's unwelcome, especially for an Aries, because he's like the wet mop, right? Aries likes to act first, think later. And Saturn doesn't want to do that. He's the guy beside you that's like, did you check the plans? Did you make sure? Did you look at the weather? Did you see if you can afford it? Maybe it's monsoon season. And so imagine trying to plan a trip and you're just like, oh, you know what? I'm going to just buy a ticket here and go and work it out. And then you land there and you end up finding out it's like the busiest time of the year. Everything's so expensive. They need a visa, yada, yada, yada. And then you roll with it because we're Aries and whatever. And Saturn's like, no, we're planning this trip properly from the beginning. We're going to see what's going on. We're going to see what time of year it is. Is the money stable? How do we work our credit cards? And all that kind of stuff. Now, it's tedious and it's detail oriented, but it's with an aim of, I don't want to say perfection, but of doing things the right way, right? Saturn, very Lord of karma and Lord of time, believes very much that there is a right way to do things and there's a wrong way to do things. And if you do them the wrong way, he knocks out the foundations and says, do it again. Now, with that energy, that if we think about Capricorn and Saturn, it's very much about movement. It's about upward movement. Capricorns are upwardly mobile. They focus on who's going to help me get to the next level, who's going to take me to the next step up. Think about a goat climbing the mountain. That's like the ultimate Saturnian metaphor. One step at a time, up the mountain slowly. And this is, so we're both movement oriented signs. Where we're different is that Saturn is about slow, careful, prodded, planned, careful movement, right? It thinks a lot before it acts. We are the exact opposite, right? We're like, well, let's try this, and I'm going to try that, and I'm going to try this. And as a force of energy, we end up getting to where we need to, and we get probably sometimes further than a Capricorn, because Capricorn will have like one focus in its life and it's like, I'm going to take all the time I need to get there. Whereas we have the pressure of time where we're like, I don't have enough of it. I don't like life wasting my time. So I'm going to do as much as I can, whether it makes me go in circles or not. Like an Aries prefers any movement rather than no movement. And a Saturn would rather no movement than the wrong movement, right? So that's already the difference. But we do have stuff in common. It's just how we go about living it that's different. Now, Saturn in upward mobile growth has been stuck in Pisces for the last 2.5 years. And you can imagine what someone who likes to have concrete ground, concrete paths, clear path upward, floating in the ocean has been like. And so Saturn's been unhappy in Pisces, leaving and finally getting to be able to put your feet on solid ground. And not only that, but an invitation to charge forward with intelligence, with thought, with planning. Saturn's actually excited to be in Aries, especially coming out from being waterlogged in the sea of emotions, right? Now we're like, let's do it, let's get it done. So I don't think it's going to be, sorry. So the energy, I'm at like I said, I'm at work, my phone rings sometimes. I don't think it's going to be like as bad. Oh no, here comes Saturn, the taskmaster, to whip us into shape. Although that's exactly what he's going to do. But it's about making sure you get to the next level. Okay. So the last time for me, when Saturn was in Aries, I was the first person in my entire generational lineage to graduate college. I broke up with my cheating college boyfriend. I met my future husband. I moved to Italy and I started working in the career that I still have today. So, what happened to me 28 years ago was really setting the seeds of where I am now. I'm still delivering on how Saturn pushed me into a new country, into a new life. I'm not married anymore, but I have my child. So there were lots of leveling up things that happened. I had to make hard choices. I had to give up things, but there was a serious upwardly mobile action that happened because I was living like paycheck to paycheck in New York City, having a great time, but I wasn't career minded, I wasn't family minded, and he kind of swept through and took care of all that. Now, how Saturn is going to show up in your chart is going to depend on the house that it's in. Mine is in the first house because I'm an Aries sun, moon, and rising. And so it's like it kicks off all my three important planets. Wherever you have your Aries house is where he's going to be helping you get to your next level, helping you level up, helping you mature and evolve to a new place. First house is all about the me, the id, who I am in the world. The second house is all about value. I remember the last time Saturn went through my second house, it was a rough lesson in self-worth. Saturn in the third house will be about communications and your immediate community, the people in like your neighborhood kind of thing. Fourth house will be about where you live, your family roots, your internal emotions, the things that you try and keep hidden. That one might be a little bit challenging. Fifth house is going to be about creativity, joy, expression, children. Sixth house will be about how you earn your money, your day-to-day processes, your health, and how, yeah, I think I said how you earn your money. So if your 10th house is your career, the sixth house is how you earn it on a daily basis. He'll be putting some of those. So like you could find yourself being unwell, and because what he's trying to do is get you healthy. Now, the universe, when it wants to give you something, it's not like, here's a plate of patience or confidence. It actually takes it away so that you're forced to go look at it or to go look for it. Bringing you good health, making you level up and evolve karmically into better health. It's not going to come in and be like, hey, I found this diet, you're totally going to love it, because that would be easy, right? And we like to do things the hard way. So what it's going to do is say, no, what's that weird symptom you've got? Better start exercising. Oh, you exercised 1 week and that's it? Guess what? It's coming back. And so it prods you into being committed to these evolutionary changes. Seventh house, it's going to be about your relationships and your partners, marriages. You may suddenly become marriage minded, whereas before you were not. Eighth house is not the money you earn, but the money that comes to you, investments, inheritances. It's about death, taxes, things we can't control, anything that lies beneath, soulmates, psychological processes. That will also be a challenging one. Ninth house is higher education, belief systems, international travel, seeing things from a much bigger perspective. If you were raised Catholic, you may start questioning your beliefs. If you were raised Buddhist, you may start questioning your beliefs and just start asking tough questions to tire kick the foundations and the cornerstones of the things that you've come to accept as true over the course of your life. 10th house is career, honors, how the outside world identifies you, lawyer, doctor, award-winning, whatever. So making sure that you are getting your flowers, or that you are taking that career aspect a little bit more seriously, that you are on a path of growth and making sure that you can reap those rewards at some point. 11th house will be about your tribe, the people you identify with, the community of humanity as a whole, the internet, astrology. You could suddenly find yourself very interested in esoteric worlds. You could find yourself either becoming very eccentric or moving away from people who are very eccentric. It could go in either direction depending on what your karma and what your life path is. And then, of course, if it's in your 12th house, it's going to be another echo of the Pisces energy, because that's the house where it's the storage room that you have in the basement, like with the lights out, and putting Saturn in there as like a taskmaster, ready to go and ready to develop and ready to grow and evolve, who can't see where he is and doesn't know where anything is, can be very frustrating. So there are a couple of the transits that'll be less comfortable than others. Definitely pay attention to where it's happening in your individual chart. But again, if you remember that none of this is happening to you, but happening for you. And if you're willing to collaborate and work with Saturn, as opposed to ignoring that he's there, because he's not going to go away, it will be a much easier transit than if you're just like, meh, I know I need to do that, but whatever. Those are going to be the harder ones. Let's put it that way. I always liken Saturn to, let's say you have a great invitation to a fantastic party that you really want to go to, but the next day you have an important job interview and you're like, oh, I can totally swing it, it'll be fine. And then you get there and the party's amazing and you're like, oh, start doing shots or whatever. Saturn is the guy next to you who's like, dude, you have that interview tomorrow, put that down, don't drink that. And he's ruining your party. And you have two choices. You can ignore him, get wasted, go home at 5 o'clock, and then whatever happens in the interview is whatever happens. Or you can listen to him and be like, you know what, you're right. I'm gonna be at this party, but I'm gonna behave responsibly and think about the thing that's in my best interest to grow my life, which is this great job interview tomorrow. I'm gonna hang out, I'm gonna be here, but I'm gonna go home early, get to bed early, and show up at my meeting clear head, ready to talk, ready to kill it. So you get to decide how you relate to Saturn. You can hate him all you want. He is there for your greater good. He's there to try and help you, and he's there to try and point out, like, hey, that's a non-solid relationship, or hey, that job isn't paying you as much as you should be earning, or hey, this country isn't going to be the place where you're going to be able to be successful 5 years from now. So it will start bringing up conversations and considerations to you where you're questioning, is this the best place for me to be? And the actions then that you have to take coming out of that, the more you are ethical, the more you move in the right way, or let's just say responsible way, the more you move towards what's best for you in the long run, right? Remember, Saturn, Lord of Time, what's best for you in the long run, not in the short term, but looking long-term picture. The more you can reason in that way, the easier of a transit this is going to be. And you'll find, because Saturn loves to reward, Saturnalia, which was what we now call Christmas, was this very bacchanalian event at the end of the year meant to celebrate all that you had accomplished over the course of the year. And it was messy. It was like a 3-day, I don't want to be rude, but it was a 3-day party and everyone let loose, we'll put it that way. So he likes to celebrate. He likes to give you the reward if you've done the work. right? And that's the key thing. If you've done the work, if you're choosing what's best for you in the long run, if you're making hard decisions, if you're putting down good boundaries, if you're working with solid foundations and making choices that are healthy, ethically correct, and responsible, then this is going to be a cakewalk. Fight Saturn and it'll be fun in the short term, but it's going to come back to bite you in the ass. This is also a time of instant karma. So it's one of those things where you could like shit talk somebody and then accidentally send them that email the next day. So do be careful. I think that's it. If you have any questions or anything, want me to expand on any points, just leave me a comment down below and I'll be happy to take a look at it. Otherwise, I will see you at the reading on Sunday. Take care.